Okay, that photograph was taken of you. Do you remember what age you were?
No, probably about 6, but Mother's sister Mary took me to the studio, and I know they rolled my hair on socks and had my hair all curled and all dressed up, and I thought that was a big deal to go get my picture made, because that's something that you just didn't do.
I guess the majority of people didn't have that done, or it was very expensive at the time.
Probably, but Mary worked from the time she was very young. She got her a job and got out of that farm, off that farm. She would rather do public works than farm work, so she used her head and got her a job. Anyway, she had a little money to spend. She done quite a bit with me, I understand, but I don't remember much of it. I just remember them talking about me sitting on the porch and chewing tobacco and spitting out in the yard.
You did that?
Yeah. Some kind of sweet tobacco. Red man tobacco. And Mother was concerned that I'd still want to use chew tobacco when I started school, but I didn't.
So it was before you started school.
Oh yeah, I was little.
Wow.
Some guy down the road gave me a chew of tobacco and got me chewing it, and every time he'd come down the road, he would give me a chew of tobacco. I don't remember his name. I did remember his name for a long time, but I don't remember it right now.
That's interesting.
But Mother'd get mad at him for giving me tobacco, but he always did, and I always took it.
Do you remember how you felt when you did it?
Why, no. Probably dizzy.
Probably.
No, I don't.
I guess you like the taste of it?
Apparently. I don't now, but and haven't had any since, but goodness, that's been a long time ago.
Yeah, that's interesting.
It was silly, but it was one of those kid things, I guess.
I guess. So tell me what you just said about you had electricity, but a lot of people didn't when you were a kid.
Yeah, my great mother's mom and dad didn't have electricity. We listened to the radio. They did have a radio, battery-powered radio, and kerosene lamps at night. But then we had electricity. But I also remember them telling me that that Jean would pull the wagon and pull me in the wagon to the road, which was not real far, but it was a pretty good distance, to meet the iceman to get ice for the, what did they call it? They didn't call it a refrigerator.
Ice box, probably.
Just the ice box, I guess.
Probably.
So we were in the icebox age when I was little. But then after we moved to Andersonville, we had, of course, electricity. Not a water in the house or no bathroom. We had an outside toilet and a well just outside the back door to pump the water and carry it in.
So you didn't have running water in the house?
No. Had a well just outside the back door. For years. I was in school and we were still having to pump water. I actually that was the way it was until we moved in the house in 1953, 54.
Maybe plumbing hadn't been invented by
I guess, yeah, it had been, the school had
plumbing,
I think. I know we had water coolers. That's where I drank my grandparents and ended up with yellow jaundice.
I drank your grandparents. Maybe you better explain that.
Well, the school was across the road from a graveyard, which was slightly higher than the property the school sat on. And the water drained from the graveyard into the school well. And all of us kids were sick with now called hepatitis, but then it was yellow jaundice. And we were really sick. A lot of us, including me, we were really sick from drinking what would you call it? I just said I drank at my grandparents'.
Contaminated water.
It was very contaminated from the graveyard. So,
That was hepatitis A.
that was hepatitis A. Yeah, but it was yellow jaundice back then.
Right. They call, anytime you start turning yellow, they'd call it yellow jaundice.
And I was very yellow. The whites of my eyes were yellow. I was pretty sick. But anyway, what were we talking about?
So Dad worked for Merida, and he sold more fruitcakes than any other salesman.
Yeah, he learned his sales ability at American Bakeries, which was Merida bread. And he ran can't remember what you call those boards. He'd always run one of those boards where you pull the numbers off of them, and the prize would be one of those 5-pound Merida fruit cakes, American Baker's fruit cake. And that's how he sold so many, by doing those. I mean, that's how he made extra money, by pulling those. What do you call those things? I can't remember. I think I still have one in there in the drawer from that time frame, where you pull them out. You pay $1 and pull, and then the number is inside or on the end of that tab, and then the winner, they had the drawing, and the winner got a fruitcake. And he made a lot of extra money doing that. Not sure it was legal, but but he did that with them. And then he would always, if a customer came through the store when he was working, putting out bread, he always offered them a loaf of Merida bread or fruitcake or whatever he was putting up at the time. He learned to sell by selling to store customers.
So then, how long did he do that?
Oh, jeez. I don't know. Because he worked for Norris Creamery when you were born, and then when you were little, that's when we moved, and he went to Merida. And he was still with Merida when we moved to Morristown, and that was when Kathy was a baby. So you have to figure that up. I guess from 57 to about 60. He might have been still with Merida when Alan was born.
I believe he was.
I think he was. That would have been 61. But then he went to Orkin right after that.
Okay, so he started working. How did he get the job at Orkin, do you know?
Just by meeting some of the guys that worked there, getting friends with them, and them saying, come over and put in the application. He did, got the job.
And did he start out as a route guy, or what?
Started out as a route man. Anyway, he worked a lot. He started out on the extra board. They call it extra board because it's running somebody's route that hadn't completed their route. And the route men didn't care too much for him because they would not complete their route. He'd go complete it and get the money, collect the money for what the services he did, plus the services that they had done and hadn't collected for. So he'd get paid on their service because they had piddled around and not collected the money, and he'd collect his and for their past due balance. So that brought him up the ladder real quick into sales.
So then he actually took him off the route
Into sales, yeah.
and put him into sales, which is what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
Is that when he met Otis?
Yeah. Otis was in sales at the same time in Morristown.
I know they competed against each other.
Oh, yeah. Well, they were all competitive. All the sales guys were competitive. They wanted to beat each other. That made all of them more money. And he said he learned a lot from Otis about selling. Stuff that he hadn't learned selling bread. Anyhow. Yeah, that's what put him into business for himself.
So we were living on Pauline Street in Morristown, and then he started having the house built in Alpha Heights.
That's right.
And did he have the house built or just found out about it?
It was being built. Yeah, somebody told him. It may have been Harvey. Harvey Hagg. You remember Harvey and Janice?
Yeah.
Lived down that way. What did Harvey do? He may have been a serviceman with Orkin. I don't even remember what Harvey did. But anyway, they were friends, so he probably told him about that house being built in Alpha Heights.